Have you ever experienced this? You're staring at a simple task, something that would only take a few minutes. Yet you keep putting it off again and again. And then you blame yourself. Why can't I even do something this small? The truth is, you're not lazy. You're not lacking ability. Your brain is simply resisting, and it's doing so in a completely natural way. In this video, we're going to explore a simple but incredibly powerful principle. The 2-minute rule. A tool that has helped millions of people around the world break procrastination, build internal motivation, and turn tiny actions into stepping stones for massive change. And most importantly, we'll break down the science behind why it works. So you won't just believe in it. You'll know how to use it, starting today. Part 1. Why do we procrastinate? Procrastination isn't a bad habit. It's a natural defense mechanism built into your brain. Left-pointing magnifying glass according to neuroscience. The human brain contains a region called the limbic system, responsible for processing emotions, especially those related to avoiding pain and seeking comfort. So when you face a task that seems even slightly unpleasant, like washing dishes, sending an email, or folding laundry, the limbic system sends a warning. Don't do it. That's going to feel uncomfortable. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles logic, planning, and long-term goals, tries to push you to act. But if there's no clear starting signal, your brain takes the easier route, procrastination. Bullseye a relatable example. You plan to exercise, but instead of getting up and moving, you pick up your phone and scroll through TikTok for 20 minutes. Right pointing backhand index, you delay the workout because it doesn't bring immediate rewards. Right pointing backhand index, meanwhile, your phone gives you instant pleasure, so your brain prioritizes it. Procrastination is a battle between short-term emotion and long-term goals. Want to win? You can't rely on willpower forever. You need a smarter, softer, yet more effective approach. And that's exactly where the 2-minute rule comes in. Part 2. The 2-minute rule. Trick your brain into starting without needing motivation. Left-pointing magnifying glass 1. What's the real reason we procrastinate? We often believe we procrastinate because we're lazy, unmotivated, or lack discipline. But the truth runs deeper. According to Dr. Tim Pychyl, a leading researcher on procrastination psychology at Carleton University, procrastination is not a time management issue, it's an emotional response. We procrastinate not because we don't know what to do, but because we don't want to feel the unpleasant emotions associated with it. Tim Pychyl. In other words, procrastination is a form of emotional avoidance. Avoiding anxiety when facing uncertainty. Avoiding boredom from repetitive tasks. Avoiding fear of failure when doing something important. 2. Your brain is wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. This all goes back to how the brain evolved. Your limbic system, the emotional brain, drives behavior based on instant rewards. It hates discomfort. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, sets long-term goals. But without a clear, easy starting point, the emotional brain takes over. So when you think about having to finish task A, your brain responds with anxiety, resistance, or confusion. Electric light bulb 3. So, what does the 2-minute rule actually do? It's a simple yet brilliant mental strategy. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. If you want to build a new habit, start with something that takes just 2 minutes. Why 2 minutes? Because 2 minutes is so short that your brain doesn't feel threatened. It doesn't trigger fear or boredom, and it's just long enough to kickstart momentum. Microscope 4. The science of starting. The moment you start doing something, even something tiny, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical linked to motivation, attention, and achievement. According to a study from Columbia University, dopamine isn't just released after you succeed. It starts flowing the moment you intend to take action. This creates a positive behavioral loop. You act, dopamine increases, it feels easier, you keep going, you feel progress, dopamine rises again. High voltage sign. This feedback loop is what defeats procrastination. Not willpower, but neurochemical momentum. And this isn't just theory. Let's look at a real-life example. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, shared the story of one reader who wanted to build a gym habit. He didn't start with an hour-long workout. For the first 6 weeks, he simply went to the gym, stayed for 2 minutes, and left. Sounds pointless? But the real value was this. He trained his identity: I'm the kind of person who goes to the gym. Once that belief was established, staying longer happened naturally. Right pointing backhand index. Small actions shape new identity. Right pointing backhand index. New identity leads to stronger, lasting behavior. The real goal is to build the foundation, not rush to the finish line. Most people fail at change because they aim too big, too fast. They're brain rebels. The 2-minute rule is how you bypass the brain's resistance. By building a foundation slowly, instead of leaping straight to the goal. You don't need to run 10K today. Just put on your shoes. You don't need to finish a 5-page report. Just type the first sentence. From there, continuation becomes natural. Procrastination is an emotional response, not a sign of weakness. Your brain avoids discomfort, even if it's just imagined. The 2-minute rule tricks the brain by starting gently. Action releases dopamine, which fuels motivation. Habits shape identity, and identity is the foundation of lasting change. Part 3. Turn the 2-minute rule into a long-term habit system. 1. 2 minutes isn't the goal, it's the gateway. The 2-minute rule isn't a complete solution. It won't help you finish a major project in one afternoon. But it does something more important. Right pointing backhand index. It gets you started and helps you stay consistent every day. In behavioral science, consistency matters more than intensity. A small action repeated daily can rewire your brain, forming new neural pathways, making the habit easier and more automatic over time. Books. According to research from University College London, UCL. It takes an average of 66 days for a simple behavior to become automatic. But it all starts with an action so small you can't say no, like the 2-minute rule. Counterclockwise arrows too. Use the habit loop to reinforce the rule. According to Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit, a sustainable habit has 3 parts. Cue, trigger or prompt. Routine, the action. Reward, a positive outcome or feeling. The 2-minute rule makes it effortless to plug into the routine step. Example. Cue, after brushing your teeth. Routine, open your vocabulary app and study for 2 minutes. Reward, sense of accomplishment, collecting points, or a motivational quote. Electric light bulb. Repeating this loop daily trains your brain to associate the behavior with a positive feeling, and over time, the habit sticks. 3. Why smart people use the 2-minute rule to build larger systems. One of the most common mistakes in habit formation. Starting too big. We set bold goals like, I'll read 50 pages a day. I'll work out for an hour every morning. I'll meditate for 30 minutes every night. And a few days in, life gets busy. We get tired. Emotions dip. Everything collapses. Seedling. But those who understand behavior deeply know this. Right pointing backhand index. Strong habits aren't built through rigid discipline. They're built through easy repetition. Right pointing backhand index. The 2-minute rule becomes a foundation. A small anchor to build an entire system of habits around. Bullseye 4. How to expand the 2-minute rule into a life system. Starting with a 2-minute action, you can grow your routine organically. Type 1 journal sentence each night. Grow into full pages. Read 1 paragraph while sipping coffee. Grow into 30-minute reading sessions. Do 1 stretch after waking up. Grow into a full mobility routine. You don't need to force yourself to speed up. You just need to keep the rhythm. Because what makes someone successful isn't one big day of work. It's hundreds of small days done without quitting. Memo a young reader once shared. I used to aim for 30 minutes of reading a day, but gave up after 3 days. Then I tried reading just one paragraph each morning after making coffee, no pressure. After 2 weeks, I naturally wanted to read more. Now, I read 25 to 30 minutes a day without forcing myself. White right pointing backhand index. That habit didn't begin with a massive goal. It began with 2 minutes of reading during coffee time. The 2-minute rule isn't the finish line, it's the foundation. Your brain needs time and repetition to automate behavior. When paired with the habit loop, small actions can become long-lasting routines. Habit mastery isn't about being great, it's about starting small enough that failure isn't even possible. Part 4. When small actions transform your identity. There's a powerful truth most people overlook. Every action you repeat is silently reshaping who you are. We often believe we have to change ourselves first, and then we'll act differently. But behavioral researchers have shown that it's actually the actions that reshape your identity. Bit by bit, day by day. When you do something small every day, whether it's reading one page, writing a single sentence, or stretching for a few minutes, you're sending a message to yourself. I'm the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. I'm someone who takes action, not just someone who thinks. I am changing, one small step at a time. And then, something remarkable happens. You stop needing to force yourself. Because at that point, the action is no longer something you have to do. It becomes a natural part of who you are. A Stanford University study found, when people shift how they see themselves, their self-identity, they're 2 to 3 times more likely to sustain a habit. But here's the key. That new identity doesn't come from positive thinking. It comes from evidence. And that evidence is built through small actions repeated consistently. You can't claim to be disciplined if you've never trained that muscle. But if every morning you spend just 2 minutes on something that matters, no matter how small, you're accumulating proof that a new version of you is emerging. And once you start to believe it, you act more boldly because you believe you're someone who takes action. You stay more consistent because you believe you're someone who follows through. You change more easily because you believe you can change. You might not notice it today. You might still think, what can 2 minutes possibly change? But a month from now, you look back and realize you're reading every night without forcing yourself. You've almost finished a piece of writing you once feared starting. You feel stronger, more energized, even if your workouts are just a few simple moves. You'll see clearly. You didn't become someone else. You just started living more in alignment with the version of yourself you always wanted to be. And it all began with 2 minutes. Final part, start with 2 minutes, transform your life. You don't need to do anything extraordinary today. You don't have to become a perfect, hyper-disciplined, always inspired version of yourself. You just need one thing, your first action. And if starting feels hard, then start small. Small enough that your brain doesn't resist. Small enough that you don't have to fight yourself. Small enough that you can say, this, I can do right now. Just 2 minutes. 2 minutes to read one page of a book. 2 minutes to jot down a few lines in your journal. 2 minutes to tidy one corner of your desk. 2 minutes to walk around the house. 2 minutes to sit in silence and return to yourself. These tiny acts might seem invisible to the world. But you know what? You will feel it. You'll feel less stuck. You'll feel like you're moving, even if just inching forward, toward the person you want to become. And day by day, that tiny action will grow into a habit, into an identity, into a new belief, and eventually, into results you never thought possible. Don't wait until you feel ready, because true readiness only comes after you act. And action always begins with the smallest thing you can do right now. Not an hour from now. Not tomorrow. But today. Right now. In just 2 minutes. Bullseye. If this video resonated with something inside you, hit like so I know you're with me. Speech balloon. Share one small habit you want to start, someone else might see it and feel inspired too. Bell. And if you'd like to walk this journey together, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss the next video. We'll meet again. In the little moments that just might change everything.